The Demon in the Stars. The outer colonies of the Galactic Alliance had grown accustomed to strange anomalies, sudden magnetic storms, rogue asteroids, even the occasional pirate raid. But nothing had prepared them for what began to haunt the shipping lanes near the Perseid expanse. It started with whispers. Freighters arrived late, their crews pale and trembling. Soldiers, normally proud and unflinching, requested transfers away from patrol duty in the sector. Their testimonies were all the same. They had seen it. The Demon. Admiral Crix of the Vorn Dominion dismissed the first reports as hysteria. His people were a reptilian warcaste, bred for battle. Fear was not a word he tolerated. But then came the footage. A hologram flickered in the council chamber, showing a squad of armed soldiers moving through the dimly lit corridors of a derelict mining vessel. The audio was filled with static, broken only by the hiss of respirators and the clatter of armored boots. Then movement. Something darted across the camera's view. Small, quadrupedal. Its eyes reflected the squad's searchlights like twin suns. A low growl vibrated through the speakers, so deep and primal that several council members flinched. The squad opened fire, plasma bolts illuminating the passage, but the creature moved with impossible speed. A blur of teeth and fury. Screams followed, abruptly cut short. The recording ended there, leaving the chamber in silence. "This is no ordinary predator," rasped Chancellor Vela of the Thren Collective, her translucent insectoid wings trembling. "Our bravest soldiers cannot face it without losing composure." Even the footage provokes unease. Crix's scaled fist tightened. He would never admit it, but the growl still echoed in his skull, stirring something ancient, something his kind had not felt since their ancestors hid from night-stalking beasts on their homeworld. Other reports poured in. A patrol frigate found drifting, its crew evacuated in escape pods, claiming the Demon had boarded. A mining colony abandoned overnight, machinery still running, meals left half-eaten. Always the same description. Small, relentless, eyes that pierced the soul, jaws that could tear through armored plating. The Galactic Alliance convened an emergency council. Delegates from dozens of species filled the great chamber, voices raised in fear and speculation. Some argued the Demon was a bioweapon unleashed by a rival empire. Others whispered it was no creature at all, but a phantom, an echo of some ancient galactic predator reborn. At the far end of the chamber, the human delegation sat quietly. Ambassador Elena Ruiz, a woman with streaks of gray in her dark hair, watched the debate with an expression carefully neutral. Her colleagues shifted uncomfortably, but they too said nothing. The council spiraled into chaos. Plans for containment were proposed and dismissed. The Thren wanted a full military blockade of the Perseid expanse. The Vorn demanded a purge, scorched earth tactics. Lesser species begged for protection, terrified that the Demon might soon reach their fragile colonies. Finally, High Chancellor Orin, a towering crystalline being, struck the floor with his staff, sending resonant chimes through the chamber. The voices stilled. "Enough," Orin declared, his voice echoing like struck glass. "This Galactic Demon is destabilizing our alliance. Fear spreads faster than fact. We must first understand what we face. Knowledge will defeat superstition." A murmur of agreement rippled through the delegates, though unease remained heavy in the air. Crix leaned forward, his golden eyes narrowing. "I will lead a task force. We will capture this beast alive, and then all will see it bleed." His tone carried conviction, but deep in his chest, the growl from the recording still gnawed at him. Elena Ruiz raised a brow, but remained silent. She glanced at the data slate on her desk, where grainy stills of the Demon were frozen mid-snarl. She had to bite back a smile. She knew exactly what she was looking at, though she doubted the others would believe her if she said it aloud. For now, it was better to let the Alliance stew in their fear. The council adjourned with no clear resolution. Fleets were mobilized, colonies fortified, and whispers of the Demon grew louder across the stars. Mothers hushed their children with stories of glowing eyes in the dark. Hardened mercenaries refused contracts near the expanse. And somewhere, on the edge of known space, the so-called demon roamed freely, unaware of the terror its presence caused. By the time Elena Ruiz left the chamber, she had already begun drafting her report back to Earth. Her opening line was simple. "You won't believe this, but the aliens are terrified of a dog." The fear spreads. The Perseid Expanse was no longer a place of commerce and travel. Once busy trade routes now lay empty, their beacons blinking forlornly in the void. Where bustling colonies had thrived, silence reigned. The legend of the Galactic Demon had spread like wildfire, and with every retelling, its power grew. On the moon world of Corel 5, Commander Dvar of the KYTH Legion tried to rally his troops for patrol duty. The KYTH were a proud, insectoid species, known for their disciplined ranks and devotion to order. But even Dvar's soldiers, creatures who had marched in a plasma fire without hesitation, refused to board their vessels. "They say the demon cannot be killed," one soldier whispered, his antennae quivering. "But its bite pierces alloy and bone alike. Plasma weapons bounce from its hide." Another added, "A cousin of mine served on the Orleans frigate. He said they fired until their rifles overheated, but the demon only grew angrier." Dvar slammed his clawed fist against the wall, the metallic thud echoing through the barracks. "Fools! You dishonor the Legion with such cowardice. There is no creature beyond death." Yet, even as he barked orders, he could not shake the chill in his thorax. He, too, had watched the recordings. He, too, had felt that growl vibrate through his bones. The Alliance tried to suppress the hysteria, but fear was not so easily contained. Rumors spread faster than ships could travel. In the great markets of Valon Station, merchants closed their stalls, muttering that the demon had been seen near their sector. On distant colonies, families abandoned homes overnight, taking only what they could carry and fleeing toward the inner core. Alien priests declared it an omen. Some called it punishment from forgotten gods. Others claimed it was a weapon unleashed by the humans themselves, their mysterious allies who had joined the Alliance only a century ago. "Who else could tame such a monster?" one delegate hissed during a private session. "The humans arrived with little technology compared to us, yet their influence grows. Perhaps this demon is their secret hand of war." The suggestion festered. Distrust of humanity grew in quiet corners, though none dared voice it openly in council. Meanwhile, the military response was proving disastrous. Patrols sent to intercept the demon returned in shambles, if they returned at all. A squadron of elite Vorn warriors had engaged the creature on a derelict freighter. When their commander was debriefed, his scales were dull with fear. "It looked at me," he rasped, "not as prey, not as an enemy, but as if it already owned me. I felt smaller than a hatchling beneath that gaze." His words, broadcast through secure channels, leaked within hours. Soon, every soldier in the Alliance had heard them. Recruitment plummeted. Desertion spiked. Ships sat idle in their docks, their crews unwilling to leave. High Chancellor Orin grew desperate. He summoned the council once more, demanding unity. "We are the Alliance," Orin declared, crystalline form glowing with inner light. "Together, we have defeated warlords, pirates, even stellar plagues. Shall we now cower before a single beast? This is not strength, it is shame." But the chamber remained subdued. No one wanted to admit it aloud, yet the truth was plain. The demon had broken them without a single battle. Fear alone was its weapon, and fear was winning. At the human delegations table, Ambassador Elena Ruiz exchanged glances with her aides. Their expressions betrayed amusement they could barely conceal. Elena, however, remained carefully stoic. She knew the longer this went on, the greater the impact of the reveal would be. She listened as one alien proposed deploying antimatter warheads to scour every derelict vessel in the Expanse. Another suggested summoning mercenary species unbound by Alliance laws, brutes who fought without conscience. Both proposals reeked of panic. Finally, Admiral Crix slammed his clawed fist on the table. "Enough talk. My warriors will bring the demon in chains. If it bleeds, we will prove it is mortal." The council reluctantly agreed. A strike team was authorized, comprised of the best soldiers from multiple species. Their mission: capture the demon alive, no matter the cost. As the delegates dispersed, whispers filled the chamber. Some hoped this mission would end the terror. Others feared it would only prove the demon invincible. Elena Ruiz lingered, her gaze fixed on the glowing star map of the expanse. A tiny dot blinked where the demon had last been sighted. She imagined the confusion on the soldiers' faces when they discovered the truth. A smile tugged at her lips. "They really have no idea," she murmured softly to herself. Back on the frontier, the fear reached its peak. Colonies abandoned whole sectors. Traders rerouted entire networks to avoid even the rumor of the demon. On backwater planets, alien children were warned, "Behave, or the demon will come for you." The galaxy had given the creature a name, woven into legend by trembling lips, the Galactic Demon. And with each passing day, its legend grew larger than life. The human revelation. The strike team launched under cover of silence, their orders stamped with the highest level of secrecy. Dozens of species contributed their finest warriors: the towering Vorn shock troops, the disciplined insectoid KYTH, the crystalline Oran guards, and even mercenaries from fringe systems who fought for nothing but blood and coin. Each soldier was armed with weapons capable of cutting through starship armor. And all of them were afraid. Their target, a derelict cargo hauler drifting in the Perseid expanse, beaconing a faint distress signal. Scans showed faint biosigns aboard, consistent with the demon's rumored presence. The boarding action was swift. Armored boots pounded through metal corridors, lights sweeping through the gloom. Tension hung thick as recycled air. A low growl rumbled from the darkness. The squad froze. Weapons rose as one. From the shadows, a pair of eyes gleamed, bright, unblinking, locked on them with predatory focus. Then came the sound, deep and primal, a bark. The KYTH soldier closest to the front shrieked, firing wildly. Plasma bolts carved into the walls, scorching metal. The demon lunged, teeth flashing. The KYTH toppled backward, armor dented by the impact. Panic broke across the team as soldiers fired in all directions. But unlike the legends, the demon did not vanish in smoke or deflect plasma with supernatural hide. It was fast, yes, impossibly fast, but contained within a small, muscular frame. The creature snarled, snapped, and then retreated as stun grenades detonated. When the smoke cleared, the demon lay unconscious, curled on the deck. The strike team stared in silence. Some wept in relief. Others refused to approach, as if even unconscious it might rise again. Finally, the Vorn commander growled, bound the creature in stasis restraints, and ordered the ship back to Alliance space. The council chamber was packed when the specimen was unveiled. The demon was suspended inside a containment field, its body encased in glowing restraints. Dozens of guards stood ready, weapons charged. The air was heavy with anticipation. High Chancellor Oren's crystalline form glittered as he addressed the assembly. "Behold, the terror of the Perseid expanse, the Galactic Demon." The chamber erupted in murmurs, some awed, others fearful. Many could not even bring themselves to look directly at the beast. The demon stirred. Slowly, its eyes opened, glowing faintly under the containment field. A low, guttural growl reverberated through the chamber. Entire delegations flinched back, chairs scraping against the polished floor. Some raised weapons instinctively, only to be ordered down. Then it barked, a sharp, sudden sound that echoed through the chamber like thunder. Several insectoid delegates collapsed in panic, their nervous systems overwhelmed. Crystalline guards bristled, shields humming. Even Admiral Crix, stoic and battle-hardened, bared his fangs and stepped back. The demon thrashed against the field, jaws gnashing, tail whipping furiously. And then, Ambassador Elena Ruiz stood. Her voice cut through the clamor. Enough. Every eye turned toward her. Calmly, without fear, she stepped toward the containment field. Guards shouted warnings, but she ignored them. "Elena, don't," hissed one aide. She stopped only a few paces from the field and whistled softly. The chamber fell utterly silent. The demon's ears twitched. Its eyes snapped toward her. Then, astonishingly, its snarling ceased. Its body relaxed. A whine escaped its throat, Not fury, but recognition. Elena gave a small smile. "Good boy," she said gently. Gasps rippled through the chamber as the demon pressed its nose against the field, tail wagging. The fierce growls that had haunted fleets gave way to excited panting. Elena gestured to the technicians. "Lower the field." "Impossible," Chancellor Vela shrieked, wings buzzing frantically. "It will slaughter us all." But Elena's gaze was steady. "Lower it." Against furious objections, the technicians obeyed. The restraints shimmered and dissolved. The demon sprang forward, straight into Elena's arms. She knelt, laughing as the creature licked her face, tail thumping against the polished floor. The chamber erupted into chaos. Delegates screamed. Guards aimed weapons, ready to vaporize the beast. Elena raised a hand, still smiling, and scratched the demon's ears. "Everyone calm down," she said firmly. "You're not looking at a demon. You're looking at a dog." Silence fell, broken only by the dog's cheerful panting. A dog, Orin repeated, crystalline tones uncertain. "Yes, Canis familiaris, to use its scientific name. A companion species from Earth. Loyal, protective, fearless. They've lived alongside us for tens of thousands of years." She scratched under its chin. The dog leaned into her hand, blissful. "This one's just a pup by the looks of it. No wonder you were all terrified. It was probably scared and defending itself." The alien stared, uncomprehending. "You mean," Crix rumbled slowly, "this monster is your pet?" Elena chuckled. "Exactly." A ripple of disbelief swept the chamber. Delegates whispered frantically. Some laughed nervously, thinking it a trick. Others looked horrified. Elena rose to her feet, the dog sitting obediently by her side. "To you, it's a demon. To us, it's man's best friend." The Alliance had expected a weapon of war, an ancient god, or a phantom from the void. Instead, they were confronted with the simple truth. Humanity had not only lived alongside predators, they had domesticated them, loved them, and turned them into family. And in that revelation, the Council saw humanity with new eyes. The demon's true nature. The Council chamber remained in stunned silence. Dozens of alien eyes, compound, crystalline, slitted, multifaceted, watched as the so-called demon sat happily beside Ambassador Elena Ruiz, its tail thumping rhythmically against the polished floor. The beast that had shattered fleets and emptied colonies now panted contentedly, tongue lolling, as if the fate of the galaxy were no more serious than a game of fetch. Elena let the moment linger before speaking. "I understand your fear. Truly I do. When humans first encountered dogs on Earth tens of thousands of years ago, we feared them too. They were hunters, predators, armed with teeth and courage. But something extraordinary happened. We made a pact." She knelt and rubbed the dog's head, earning another delighted wag. "We gave them food, shelter, and protection. In return, they gave us loyalty, watchfulness, and hearts braver than our own. That partnership has lasted ever since." Some delegates shifted uneasily. Admiral Crix, however, leaned forward, his golden eyes sharp. "You expect us to believe this tiny creature is no weapon? No engineered terror?" "Not engineered," Elena replied evenly. "Bred. Over millennia, we shaped them, yes, but never to be killers. To be companions, guardians, helpers. There are breeds that can pull sleds through blizzards, sniff out diseases where machines fail, even sacrifice themselves for the lives of their humans. What you call a demon, we call a friend." Her words hung in the air like a challenge. A young crystalline guard, unable to restrain his curiosity, stepped cautiously forward. The dog sniffed him, then licked his shimmering hand with sloppy affection. The guard recoiled in shock, only to realize no harm had come. Laughter broke out among the human aides, though most of the council remained stiff and wary. Chancellor Vela fluttered her wings nervously. "Your pet," she said slowly, "drove entire garrisons into flight. Our soldiers were paralyzed with terror. Why would such a small animal evoke such primal dread?" Elena nodded. "Because dogs radiate confidence. They never back down, not even against foes far larger than themselves. That courage, combined with their predatory stare and sharp teeth, triggers instincts deep within you, reminders of dangers your species faced long ago. To a soldier unprepared, that's terror incarnate. A murmur of agreement spread among the delegates. Many recalled their own reactions to the recordings, their pounding hearts, their trembling limbs. What she said rang true. But then Crix asked the question weighing on them all. If this is only a pet, what does that say about humanity? A species that tames predators and calls them family. Elena's smile was faint but deliberate. It says you've underestimated us. If our children grow up with creatures you fear as demons, what does that make us? The chamber rippled with unease. The Thren Chancellor bowed her insectoid head, murmuring to her aides. The crystalline guards stiffened. Even the ever-proud Vorn warriors exchanged uneasy glances. Humanity, once dismissed as a young, unthreatening species, now appeared in a far more daunting light. Yet amid the tension, something unexpected happened. A small alien child, hidden among the aides of a minor delegation, slipped past the guards. Barely waist-high and covered in soft feathers, the child toddled toward the dog. Gasps erupted. Cries of warning filled the chamber. The dog turned its head, its ears perked, tail wagging. Then, without hesitation, it bounded forward. Delegates shouted in terror, until the dog gently bowled the child over and began licking its face enthusiastically. The child squealed in delight, tiny claws batting playfully at the dog's fur. The chamber froze. No growls, no snarls, only laughter, the innocent sound of a child playing with an animal it did not fear. Elena spread her hands. There is your proof. Dogs do not exist to harm. They exist to love, to protect, to share our lives. Fear comes from ignorance. Knowledge dispels it. High Chancellor Orin's crystalline body pulsed with shifting colors. Contemplation, then resolution. This alliance has been undone by shadows and whispers. Yet now we see clearly. The demon is no demon. It is a mirror, showing us the courage of humanity and the weakness of our own fear. Not all were comforted. Some whispered of danger still. If humans tamed such creatures, what else might they tame? What other pets might they unleash? But others saw hope. Perhaps humanity could teach them courage, teach them bonds that transcended fear. Elena offered a final thought. If one dog frightened fleets, imagine what 100 could do. Not as weapons, but as companions, guardians, allies. Humanity does not seek to rule through fear. We seek to share the loyalty and love that these creatures embody. The question is, will you let fear define you, or will you learn from it? The chamber erupted into debate, but the dog ignored it all, busy chasing its own tail. For the galaxy, everything had changed. The demon was no demon at all, but a symbol of something far more profound. The resilience of humanity and the extraordinary bond they shared with the beasts that once hunted them. And as the council adjourned, one thought lingered in every alien mind. If this is what humanity calls a pet, what, then, are humans themselves?